Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Lilbumblebear's Let's Play. I'm Kristen and we are here with another DK EyeWitness game. This is Virtual Reality Bird. I hope you enjoy. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and of course subscribe for more nostalgic gaming. Check out the playlist in the description box to see all the other DK games on this channel. I have a Twitter and Instagram you can follow, a streaming channel, and a Discord server with the kindest community on the internet. If you'd like to join my server, just use the invite link in the description box. Alright, let's learn about birds. Enjoy.
The eagle. He clasps the crag with crooked hands. Close to the sun in lonely lands, ringed with the azure world, he stands. The wrinkled sea beneath him crawls. He watches from his mountain walls, and like a thunderbolt he falls.
Hast thou seen how thy Lord did with the men of the elephant? Did he not make their guile go astray? And he loosed upon them birds in flight, hurling against them stones of baked clay, and he made them like the green blades.
This nature reserve in Scotland is home to the protected osprey. A conservation officer checks a nest while the parent circles warily. He removes the chicks and brings them to the ground to measure and tag them. Banding will make it easy to identify the individual birds when they've grown up and left the nest, and this helps conservationists monitor declining bird populations. Using a good pair of binoculars will help you to watch birds in most habitats without getting so close that you disturb them. Good birding binoculars magnify between 7 and 10 times and are ideal for watching birds like great tits and blue tits feeding at a backyard table. Some binoculars magnify more than this, but they usually have a small field of view, which means that you see less of the scene in front of you, making birds harder to spot and more difficult to follow. In a few habitats, such as lakes and mountains, birds can be so far away that not even binoculars make them clear. So the only way to see birds like this kite harassing its prey is to use a telescope. Telescopes magnify more than most binoculars, but they have a small field of view and are more sensitive to shakes, so it is important to rest them on something solid, like a tripod or car.
A duck uses its vision as an early warning system. Its eyes point sideways, allowing it to see almost all around without moving its head. Its vision is not particularly keen, but it is good at noticing anything that moves, even if it approaches from behind. The duck's forward vision is not nearly as sharp as the vulture's, but because it finds its food largely by touch, this does not matter. A vulture uses its eyesight to spot food from great distances as it circles high above the ground. In each eye, the central part of the retina, the screen where the light is focused, is packed with light-sensitive cells. These cells give the eye extremely high resolution, which means that it can detect very small objects. The vulture's eyes also have overlapping fields of view, which allow the bird to judge distances.
Every year, millions of birds are collected from the wild and sold as pets. These parrots are removed from their nest and then kept in overcrowded and unsanitary conditions before being packed into cages or crates for a grueling journey to an airport thousands of miles away. Here, conservation officers check on the condition of a variety of exotic birds, such as this toucan and these parrots. Deprived of water and warmth, many birds do not survive. Some species are actually endangered as a result of the pet trade.
Little birds of the night. Little birds of the night, aye, they have much to tell, perching there in rows, blinking at me with their serious eyes, recounting of flowers they have seen and loved, of meadows and groves of the distance, and pale sands at the foot of the sea, and breezes that fly in the leaves. They are vast and experienced, these little birds that come. This photographic sequence by Edward Muybridge is of a cockatoo in flight. The photographs show how a bird flaps its wings to counteract the downward pull of gravity.
A large raven perched upon the top of the easy chair listened with a polite attention and a most extraordinary appearance of comprehending every word, turning his head from one to the other as if his office were to judge between them, and it were of the very last importance that he should not lose a word. "Upon my word," said Varden, "do you see how he looks at me as if he knew what I was saying?" To which the bird, balancing himself on tiptoe, as it were, and moving his body up and down in a sort of grave dance, rejoined, "I'm a devil! I'm a devil! I'm a devil!" and flapped his wings against his sides as if he were bursting.
Underwing. Ear. Contour. L- ta- ta- Secondary. Primary. Wing. Jaw. Tr- Pec. Leg. Leg. Latissimus. Iliot. Ta- is. In. Provent. sclerotic, tibio, tarsometa, pel, pi, carpometa. This female mallard is having an all-over bath, but the mallard never gets wet. Her feathers are coated with special oil that makes them waterproof. Without this oil, the feathers would soak up water like a sponge, and the mallard would lose the jacket of air next to her skin. She would be less buoyant, and in cold water would lose more body heat. However, the duck's waterproof covering means that water simply rolls off her back.
The curved shape of a bird's wing is called an airfoil. When air is parted by an airfoil, the air passing over the curved upper surface travels faster than the air flowing beneath. The faster-moving air has a lower pressure than the slow-moving air, causing the wing to be sucked upward. This upward force is called lift. If the wing is angled into the air, the flow of air becomes disturbed. The result is that lift is lost and the bird begins to fall.
Birds have such distinctive flying styles that they can often be identified by these. The barn owl uses its broad wings to patrol slowly over the ground, watching for prey. Like other long-distance migrators, red-breasted geese have more pointed wings, ideal for traveling at speed for extended periods. An albatross is an expert glider. Its wings are long and narrow, and it holds them out stiffly to ride on the updraft above the waves. By contrast, this hummingbird's short wings beat so rapidly as it hovers to feed that they are seen only as a blur. As this booby comes into land, it controls its flight by adjusting the angle and movement of its wings. In the living world, only 2 other animals are capable of powered flight. Bats make up one group. Their wings are made of a sheet of skin stretched over immensely long finger bones. Insects were the first flying animals. They have thin wings made from membrane. This damselfly has 4 wings it beats in opposite directions to stay in the air.
When a bird breathes in, air is drawn directly into the rear air sacs. These sacs store the air but do not remove the oxygen. As the bird breathes out, the rear air sacs deflate. This forces the air through the lungs, where the oxygen is absorbed. The used air then begins to move into the forward air sacs, and the bird inhales again to bring fresh air into the rear air sacs. The bird breathes out, expelling the old air from the front air sacs and drawing the fresh air from the rear air sacs into the lung.
Some birds, such as the cormorant, find their food by swimming underwater. Its feathers lack waterproofing oil, so they soak up water. This squeezes out the layer of air near its skin, helping the bird to sink. Before it dives, the cormorant reduces the air in its air sacs. When it holds its breath, its heart rate slows down and it uses up oxygen slowly. It usually stays underwater only long enough to capture its fish prey, but it can survive for up to 15 minutes. Birds have a very good sense of balance, whether in flight or at rest. These bee-eaters perch on a slender twig, staying stable effortlessly. If their equilibrium is disturbed, their organs of balance, tiny chambers and canals inside their ears, instantly send a warning to the brain. In turn, the brain sends signals to the nerves and muscles to make alterations, so the bird regains its balance. Even under these trying circumstances, this bee-eater is able to maintain its balance on its perch. On this lake, a variety of freshwater birds search the water for food. A spoonbill slices its beak sideways while striding through the water. Its beak is open, but if it touches food, it immediately seizes it and gobbles it up. Storks also hunt by touch. The little egret uses its feet to stir up mud, causing animals to swim to the water's surface. Here it can spy its prey and stab whatever gets within range with its dagger-like beak. This time the egret gets a fish. When a bird such as this parrot eats berries, it not only gets a nutritious source of food, it aids the plant in reproduction. The parrot is attracted to the bright red berries of the chili plant and to an addictive drug-like substance they contain. The soft flesh of the berries passes through the bird's digestive system very quickly, leaving the small hard seeds intact and undigested. The parrot eats a great deal of these berries, then flies off over the forest, scattering the seeds in its droppings. These seeds can then take root and grow. Inside this egg, a chick is developing. One of the first organs to form is the heart, which develops after 2 days of incubation. It pumps blood through a network of vessels that fan out over the yolk. The yolk provides the materials that are used to build structures such as the chick's eyes, which have yet to open after 12 days, and its beak. By 15 days, tiny feathers have formed. After 21 days, the young bird pecks through the egg's membranes on its way out of the shell. The golden eagle's needle-sharp talons spread almost as wide as a hand as the bird comes into land. In the snowy subarctic, the eagle is on the lookout for prey, using its keen eyesight to detect the slightest movement. A hare becomes aware of the approaching danger and makes a dash for safety. As the eagle swoops in, its legs drop down, but the moment is not yet right, and the bird changes course. Then the eagle makes another approach, lowering its lethal weapon-like talons, and the hare suffers a sudden death.
From Peregrine Falcon. There heard I nothing but the resounding sea, the ice-cold waves. Sometimes I made the song of the wild swan my pleasure, or the gannet's call, the cries of curlews for the missing mirth of men, the singing gull instead of mead in hall. Storms beat the rocky cliffs, and ice-winged the tern replied, the horn-beaked eagle.
There was an old man with a beard, who said, "It is just as I feared. 2 owls and a hen, 4 larks and a wren, have all built their nests in..."
"Come away, Hawkins," Silver would say. "Here's Captain Flint. I calls my parrot Captain Flint after the famous buccaneer." And the parrot would say with great rapidity, "Pieces of 8, pieces of 8, pieces of 8, till you wondered that it was not out of breath, or till John threw his handkerchief over the cage. "Now that bird," he would say, "is maybe 200 years old, Hawkins. They lives forever mostly. And if anybody's seen more wickedness, it must be the devil himself." Silver had 2 guns slung about him, one before and one behind, besides the great cutlass at his waist and a pistol in each pocket of his square-tailed coat. To complete his strange appearance, Captain Flint sat perched upon his shoulder, gabbling odds and ends of purposeless...
This male great tit is calling to his female partner. Bird calls are short, simple sounds that are produced by both sexes in response to everyday situations. Songs are longer and more complex sounds produced by male birds, usually during the breeding season only. They're generally used to warn away potential rivals and to attract a mate. Many birds produce songs, but they are most elaborate in songbirds. Unlike humans, birds do not have a larynx. Instead, their voice box, the syrinx, is lower down, where the trachea splits into two bronchioles leading to the lungs. To sing, the bird forces air out of its lungs and air sacs and over the membranes. These vibrate, producing sound which travels up the trachea and out of the bird's beak. Some songbirds, such as this nightingale, can produce two different notes at the same time, which gives them an extraordinary double voice.
To break through the eggshell, the Japanese quail uses its egg tooth, a sharp projection at the end of its beak. The chick makes a circular cut by turning its body after each burst of pecking. The young bird has now cut one end of the shell free, and it gives a strong kick with its legs. The quail tumbles into the outside world. It has taken about 95 minutes to hatch. 2 days later, although not much bigger than a bumblebee, the chick is pecking at insects and following its parents around.
The duckling begins hatching with the first pip or break in the eggshell using its egg tooth on the tip of its beak. Once the shell is broken, the duckling continues to peck, and with big kicks, it forces its way out of the shell and uncurls its body. Its down is still wet, and the duckling rests while it dries. For young wood ducks, home is a tree hole as high as 30 feet above the ground. Within 24 hours of hatching, they leave the nest. The ducklings scrabble toward the entrance, spurred on by the calls of their mother waiting far below. Then, one by one, they jump into the air and sail downward. Their wings and feet act like parachutes, and their fluffy plumage helps to slow the speed of their fall and cushion the impact as they hit the ground.
Four days after hatching, the young blue tits are still blind and featherless. When a parent arrives at the nest, they cry out to be fed. At 6 days old, the chicks are putting on weight fast, and their first set of feathers are starting to grow. 9 days after hatching, the bird's eyes are just starting to open, and their flight feathers are almost fully grown. After 13 days, the birds have almost reached adult size. Their eyes are open and their feathers are fully grown. The nest is now very crowded, and it is time to leave the tree hole and learn to fly.
These king penguins, waddling in tandem and stretching their necks, are indulging in a pair bonding ritual. Penguins nest closely together in colonies for warmth and safety, but such cramped conditions can lead to disputes. This young male has strayed too close and will be driven off by the others. Fighting among colonial species is highly ritualized, and birds rarely hurt each other seriously. When, as it flies high above the ground, a vulture spots a gathering of its relatives around a carcass, it circles down to join them. Every bird struggles for a share of the food before it disappears. Several species of vulture often feed side by side, and each one shows a different combination of strength and aggression as it tears away at the food. The smaller species usually arrive first, sometimes in large numbers, and are later pushed aside by their larger, more aggressive relatives, which steal the remains. The pheasant feeds on the ground, where danger is ever present. If a fox catches the bird's scent, it works its way upwind, but the pheasant is alive to the danger. Its first reaction is to run, but if it is cornered, it explodes into the air in an almost vertical takeoff. However, because of its weight, it can only fly short distances, and once its energy is spent, the pheasant becomes easy prey. With its buoyant flight, the Arctic tern makes crossing the globe look easy. As it flies along coastlines, it feeds as it travels to fuel its immense journey. Not all migrant birds have the same relaxed attitude to travel. Many stock up on food before departure, and then fly almost non-stop over seas, mountains, and deserts, until, like these Arctic terns, they have reached their destination. In these courtship displays, the male widow bird shows off his tail and grebes dance together on the water. The male tragopan uses his bright throat to impress. Courtship displays can involve leaping into the air, acrobatics, some nimble footwork, or even lying down, as in the case of the ostrich. Once the courtship displays are over, the business of raising young. The male peacock's courtship display is one of the most dazzling sights in the entire bird world, and here he proudly exhibits his glittering, iridescent tail feathers. The female, or peahen, will only mate with him if he seems fit and healthy.
During the breeding season, male birds find a territory that will provide food and shelter for their young. In this example, 9 male Eurasian robins have claimed a territory. The boundaries are invisible to us, but not to the robins. Some follow natural barriers, but others cut right across roads and gardens. 1 year later, there are just 8 territories to be defended against rivals. This is because robins have a short lifespan, and many die each winter. After a severe winter, even fewer male robins survive, and each survivor is able to claim a larger territory. On this piece of ground, the number has now dropped to 4.
The house martin's nest is constructed from mud and saliva, which is soft when mixed but hardens like cement. The cup-shaped nest has a small entrance hole at the top and would originally have been built in cliffs. But as wild habitats increasingly disappear, house martins have adapted to nesting on the sides of buildings.
The pied wagtail collects twigs and pieces of dry grass to form the framework of its nest. The bird adds tufts of cattle hair from fences and feathers from old nests. Lichen helps to camouflage the nest, and a lining of moss keeps the nestling.
The ice was here, the ice was there, the ice was all around. It cracked and growled and roared and howled like noises in a swound. At length did cross an albatross. Through the fog it came. As if it had been a Christian soul, we hailed it in God's name. It ate the food it ne'er had et, and round it flew. The ice did split with a thunder fit. The helmsman steered us through. And a good south wind sprung up behind. The albatross did follow. And every day, for food or play, came to the mariners.
Frigate birds spend most of their time over the sea. To feed, a frigate bird glides down close to the surface and snaps up food with its long hook-tipped beak. Although they are seabirds, they do not have waterproof feathers, and they never deliberately land on the water. Like the adult duck, ducklings feed by dabbling. The beak is opened and shut in the water to sieve out water animals and plants. Ducks can swim soon after hatching, using their webbed feet to propel themselves through the water. Like other water birds, ducks walk clumsily on land because their legs are set far back along the body. Most owls feed on land animals, but this nocturnal fish owl feeds on prey of a very different kind. It watches and listens from its riverbank perch, and then swoops down into the water to snatch the fish just below the surface. Fish owls have small spines on the underside of their toes, which help them to grip their slippery prey. The ostrich is the world's heaviest bird, weighing 265 pounds. As flightless birds, ostriches have large, powerful legs that enable them to walk easily across the desert. When running, ostriches can reach speeds of 40 miles per hour, and therefore stand a good chance of outrunning most predators. Deep in the rainforest of lowland Peru, green-winged macaws peck pieces of hardened clay from a riverbank cliff. The clay is rich in minerals, and the macaws eat it to supplement their usual diet of fruit and nuts. The toko toucan's beak may look unwieldy, but the bird can use it with great precision when feeding. A toucan plucks some fruit from a tree with the tip of its beak. The beak is lightweight, with serrated edges that grip the fruit. The fruit is then flicked down the throat. Geese are the great migrators of the waterfowl world. By flying in a V, they save energy on their marathon journeys because in this formation, each bird is helped along by the wake of the one in front. They sometimes travel over 2,000 miles between their summer and winter homes. At the first sign of food, an Andean condor leaves its cliff nest and swoops to the ground. The condor is the world's largest bird of prey, and it has an appetite to match. It can eat several pounds of meat at a single sitting. Here, a visiting eagle vies for its share of the carcass. When an African fish eagle spots a fish, it swoops down low over the water. Only its feet break the surface as it grabs the fish with its sharp talons. Rising with powerful thrusts of its wings, the eagle carries its prey to a secluded spot where it can eat its fill. With his tail feathers fanned, a male capercaillie challenges any rivals, while a female looks on. Male capercaillies fight to control a courtship arena, to give them the best chance to mate. Although the fight looks violent, injuries are rare, and the fight will stop as soon as one bird admits defeat and flies away. With a body length between 5 and 6 inches, this male violet saberwing is a giant in the hummingbird world. It feeds at the flowers of a calumnia plant, inserting its curved beak deep into the trumpet-shaped blooms to suck up a meal of nectar. As it feeds, the hummingbird is dusted with pollen, and it carries this to the next calumnia flower that it visits.
Neark, Neotrop, Afro,
Well, there you guys have it. A full tour of EyeWitness Virtual Reality Bird. I hope you learned a lot. I know I learned so many fascinating things. I absolutely love birds. They are beautiful and unique, and some of them have the most wonderful, relaxing calls. I love listening to birds sing. It just brings me so much peace. So I really hope you enjoyed all of the knowledge and the sound effects and the videos about these gorgeous animals. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, let me know what your favorite bird is. And of course, subscribe for more nostalgic gaming. Don't forget the playlist in the description box to see other DK games that you might enjoy. Remember, you are special and loved, you are never alone, and you're always welcome to come back and hang out anytime. Until the next video, God bless, and I will see you all later. Bye-bye, everyone.